It's me again. So, anyways, I talked about this sort of thing a couple of years ago on my Mr. Okage channel, and I think this was probably way back in around 2019 where I had a bit of some views there, where I was talking about uh, the Champaign socialists of that sort, but in a way, it is a bit of like a stereotype when it comes to the Champagne socialists of that sort, because there are people that are like that, in Kodo, for those who don't know, I'm referring to like Kodo de Casa, which is a gated community in Orange County, and that's kind of like where we have the the stereotype of people from Orange County, especially if anybody that is from out of state, that have absolutely no clue about what it's like to live in Orange County. They all think it's all Codo and Rancho Santa Margarita, but it's not. It's just not. There's still parts of Orange County that isn't really that great, to say the least, as far as that goes. You know. So, anyways, the reason I talked about this sort of thing now is because there was like this sort of thing of like of a channel that was called Wojak Explains. It has those like little Wojak characters here, and everybody probably seen like what the Wojak people look like, from like the NPC memes and all that other stuff, and so basically there was like this one video that was called types of liberals explained, and so it had like this short explanations of different types of liberals of that sort, but it's also like a bit of the stereotype of like certain liberals, and then there was one that was like the guilt-ridden rich kid or something like that, and that's basically the whole Champagne socialist, that they behave this sort of way because of rich guilt, because they never really seen what it's like not to afford certain things, and it was more they would think it's all tuition, but there are a lot of people that will see through that charity and all that, and and it's a lot of people that would also do that. They would also travel to less fortunate places to do some sort of photo op of that sort, like, look at me, I'm so charitable, or blah blah blah. But in reality, it's like people who actually really want to be charitable would always be a bit more subdued about their charity, that sort. And it was like the other story that I talk about periodically. I don't know whatever happened to the rest of the Koch brothers as far as that goes, but it was like one of them had donated millions of dollars to one of the hospitals around, the DC area or something like that, and they opened up another wing there. But mainly it was because he just, had like some sort of crisis of conscience, because he was already, like his days were numbered, and so he just did not want to appear to be, uncharitable and hospitable and blah blah blah, you know, you know, and the fact that when it came to the Koch brothers, you know, they were like reviled a whole lot when it comes to the left in that sense, anyways, just as much as like George Soros is reviled a lot from the right. But it was like, I'm trying to remember like which side was the one that got their money, from hard work and all of that, while the others just coasted along. But it's just one of those things. But I think of it is that charitability is another thing then, but it's also, who really benefits from charity? Is it really the people that were donating from the charity, receiving the donations, or the ones that are donating? Yeah. And that's like the thing there. But I think about it there was just that there is always going to be certain people that are willing to exploit that sort of thing just to feel charitable and all. And regardless of whether they're on the left or on the right. But I think of it as like the guilt-ridden rich kid and all that is kind of like the left-wing equivalent of the born-again Christian. That's what it is. I think of it as like the left-wing equivalent of the born-again Christian, where it's more about wanting to appear moralistic and all of that, and that it's just one of those little things again where it's just more about the appearance of things rather than actually being genuine of that sort. Because some of the, as I said before, a person who is genuinely wanting to be charitable and genuinely want to be a good person doesn't need to be flashy. But it's like the whole thing when it comes to like the Sigma male, or whatever they call it, that a Sigma male is more subdued because they don't have a need to be, look at me, I'm so this or something. And that's like what I would be if I was straight. That would be that sort of way that I don't need to be all flashy and be all with the bling and all of that and all that with the Timbs and all. The Timberlands. Yeah, but great. I'm thinking of that song again. That Thing by Lauryn Hill, but that was a song that was popular back in like 97, 98, 99, So that is just one of those little things. So anyway, I guess that's probably it. So talk to you guys later.